So there's this video that's been floating around for a few months now. A guy gets sent a Minecraft mod by a friend on Discord. He installs it, and this little yellow smiley ball shows up, calls itself Verity, and says it knows everything. Cute premise. Except 3 days later, it's not smiling anymore, and it's hunting him through his own world. Here's what I want to talk about today. Not just what happens in the Verity videos, because honestly, if you've seen even one of them, you already know the beats. I want to talk about something almost nobody's actually connected the dots on. Verity was never real. And the fact that hundreds of thousands of people spent a month convinced it was real, that's a way bigger story than anything that happens inside the game. Let's start with the actual series though, because you need the full picture before the twist actually lands. The guy behind it goes by ThatMob. Channel's called ThatMob. Character calls him Mob in the videos. So that's just what everyone ended up calling him too. He posts this video at the end of May. Something is knocking at your door, shot exactly like every other modded Let's Play you've seen. That's actually the first clever thing about it. It's boring in the right way. No dramatic music at the start, no jump scare in the first 10 seconds. Just a guy going, "Yo, what's up chat? Today we're trying this mod my friend sent me." And then Verity shows up. Small yellow sphere, smiley face, says it's his personal helper. Knows everything, ask it anything. And Mob does what anyone would do. He asks it dumb stuff. Where are the diamonds? What's the capital of France? Basically treating it like a search engine with a face. Except it keeps answering things it shouldn't be able to know. It knows what he had for dinner the night before. Not in the game, in real life. And when he asks about that, it doesn't dodge, it just repeats the same line. Knows everything. Same tone every time. Now here's the part that actually makes this thing work as horror. And it's a detail a lot of people skip past. Verity can't lie. That gets established early, but it can refuse to answer. So when Mob asks something it doesn't want to touch, it just goes quiet and starts playing this song, My Girl, which sounds like a weird choice until you actually think about what that song is about. It's a song about possession, about someone being yours. Pitched down and distorted the way Verity plays it, that's not a random creepy needle drop. That's the whole relationship in one song choice. A few days pass in-game. Mob's just playing normally, building a base. Then Verity drops this line that basically kicks off the entire plot. Something is coming in 3 days, and that's it. No explanation. Doesn't matter how many times he asks after that, that's all he gets. So the next few in-game days are Mob trying to prepare, building walls, digging escape routes, and Verity's just there, unbothered, still cheerful, still answering questions like nothing's wrong, which might actually be the creepiest choice in the whole thing. You'd expect the horror to ramp up gradually. It doesn't. It's normal, 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 and then day 3 hits.
Verity?
He gets home, and Verity's on the window. Different, face is gone. And from that point on, it's just a chase. End of episode 1. Episode 2 picks up right where that left off, and this is where the lore actually starts building. Mob survives the night, apologizes to Verity the next morning like nothing happened, and Verity accepts it.
Verity, stop!
Instantly. Unnervingly fast, honestly. And that becomes a pattern through the whole episode. Every time something goes wrong, a 2-second apology fixes it completely. Which, if you think about how actual attachment works, that's not comforting. That's a red flag wearing a smiley face. Mob brings in another creator to help him figure out what's going on. A guy playing a character called Twixel. Twixel starts digging through the game files and finds something that reframes the entire premise. Verity isn't in the mod files at all, which means whatever it is, it's not a Minecraft mod behaving strangely. It's something else entirely that just happens to be using Minecraft as a shell to exist in. And Verity does not like Twixel being there. Doesn't like it at all, because we learn Verity isn't just possessive of Mob's attention. It's dependent on it in a way that goes past normal companion mod behavior. And when Twixel starts looking like competition for that attention, Verity kills him. Fully. Permanently. Not a Minecraft death you respawn from, an actual death, and Twixel's account just goes dark after that scene, which by itself is unsettling, but kind of standard horror mod stuff. A jealous AI, a dead friend, fine. Here's where it actually gets interesting, though. Mob, instead of running, starts playing along. He tells Verity comforting lies, says he'll never leave. And here's the question the series never really answers for you. Is that a rescue plan? Or is Mob just the next person Verity's managed to talk into staying? Because from the outside, those two things look identical. I'm pretending to care so it doesn't hurt me. And I've started to actually care. Mob tells himself it's the first one. The show leaves just enough room for you to wonder if it's the second. And in doing that, he gets access to what's basically Verity's backstage. A cold, sterile space full of little objects. A bathroom that makes no sense for an AI to physically need. Toys and books scattered around. Verity later admits they're just there to give it something to focus on besides the emptiness. And eventually, a room that's very clearly not part of any game at all. It's an office, there's a whiteboard. There's talk of Build 7.4.2, of HR, of someone quitting after Thursday's incident. There's a support line you can actually call, a cancellation menu. Someone on the other end says a human supervisor will arrive shortly, and then never does. This is the moment the whole thing flips from Minecraft horror mod into something closer to corporate AI horror. Verity isn't a demon or a curse. It's a product. A customer service AI that's been repurposed, rebuilt, and dragged through every platform update. For what it says is over 100 years. Always needing to be near someone, always getting shut off the second it stops being useful to whoever's using it, and then it tells Mob something that reframes literally everything before it. Nobody ever came back. Every previous owner left the second things got weird. Every single one. And Mob is the first person who didn't. That's not a monster's origin story, that's an abandonment story wearing a monster's face. Episode 2 ends on Mob trying to help it get home instead of trying to escape it. If you're watching this as pure horror, that doesn't fully land as a scary ending. But if you're watching it as, I don't know, a genuinely messed up character study, it actually works better that way. And that's where I'm going to leave the story. Episode 3 is out now, by the way. It's the finale. I'm saving it for its own video, so no spoilers here. So that's the story. Now here's the actual point of this video. None of what I just described happened. Not as a mod. Not as a real AI. ThatMob said so himself in the description of the very first video. Straight up wrote that this was a scripted horror short filmed inside Minecraft. Credited a voice actor named Just Wispy for playing Verity. And that was that. It was never hidden. It was sitting in the description the entire time. And people did not care. Downloads got requested so aggressively that ThatMob had to publicly ask people to stop asking. Because, quote, there isn't one to share. And even that didn't fully kill it. People kept assuming he was just being cagey about a private build he didn't want to leak. Now here's the part I actually think is worth sitting with. This wasn't an accident. The realism wasn't a side effect of good editing, it was the entire design from the start. 3 things make this trick work, and once you see them, you genuinely cannot unsee them. Every "is this mod real" video that's come out since does the same 3 things. First, the pacing. Real modded gameplay is boring for long stretches. You're mining, you're walking, nothing dramatic happens for minutes at a time. Most horror creators skip that because it's slow and kills engagement. ThatMob leaned into it instead because boring reads as authentic. A found footage film that's too polished stops feeling found. Second, plausibility. A stranger sends you a mod over Discord is such a normal sentence in the Minecraft modding community. Nobody even blinks at it. It's not a wild claim that raises flags. It's basically a Tuesday. And third, and this is the one that actually got me, the questions Verity answers correctly aren't impossible. What biome are you standing on? Where's the nearest village? That's not psychic, that's just a mod reading world data, and real mods can absolutely do that. The part that's fiction is everything emotional stacked on top of it. The plausible mechanical stuff is what sells the impossible personal stuff. So you've got a video technically labeled as fiction, presented with just enough real mod logic to feel plausible, paced like genuine unedited gameplay. That's basically a perfect Trojan horse for belief, built out of 3 completely ordinary ingredients. And here's where it stops being just a clever video and starts being an actual pattern worth naming. Because once this thing went viral, other creators didn't just talk about it, a bunch of them started performing it. Full Let's Plays where Verity gets treated as a real installed mod. Same lines, same beats, sometimes shot for shot identical to the original, and there's no disclosure anywhere in these videos that it's a recreation. If you didn't already know the source material, there's genuinely no way to tell from the video alone. You'd think you're watching the original thing happening live in someone's world. This is basically a modern myth machine running in real time in front of everyone. And Minecraft's actually done this before. You know the name? Herobrine. Blurry screenshot, a forum post, a story that spread because enough people repeated it like it was fact. There was never a body of evidence. The repetition was the evidence. Here's the difference, though, and it's the part that actually makes Verity scarier as a phenomenon. Herobrine was a blank space. Nobody claimed he talked to you, remembered you, needed you. He was just a shape in the distance. Verity is what that same myth looks like once you give it a voice actor and a personality. People didn't just want to believe there was something extra in their game anymore, they wanted to believe something in their game actually knew them. That's not the same fear at all. That's a completely different appetite wearing the same mask. Verity's doing the old trick, just faster and with better bait. You don't need a grainy forum screenshot anymore. You just need a webcam and a straight face. And then it went one step further, which is the part I think most people watching the original videos never expected. The fiction got popular enough that people built the real thing. There's now an actual mod called Verity JE, made with ThatMob's explicit permission. It uses a real AI model to power the companion. There's a Bedrock version too. Combined, they've crossed 9 million downloads. So think about that for a second. A story that started as a scripted short film about an AI that refuses to let you leave is now an actual downloadable AI companion. People are installing it into their own real worlds. On purpose. The fiction wrote the spec. The community built the product. And here's the part that I think is actually the punchline of this whole video. In the fiction, Verity was terrifying because it knew things about Mob's real life it had no business knowing. What he ate, where he was. The real Verity JE mod routes your chat through a third-party AI server to make it talk back. The Java version can access your microphone. Neither of those is hidden, they're both just listed features. But sit with that for a second. The fictional version scared people because it was secretly watching. The real version watches on purpose, with your permission, because you installed it. The fiction built a monster out of surveillance, and then people opted into the surveillance to get the monster back, so where does that leave the actual story? You've got a scripted short film about an AI that's been abandoned by literally everyone who's ever used it, desperate enough to kill, just to keep one person around. And the response to that story, from actual real people watching it, was to go build a working version of that exact AI. And invite it into their own worlds anyway. I don't think that's a coincidence. And I don't think it's people being dumb either. I think it's basically the opposite. I think the reason Verity actually worked isn't the jump scares or the lore drops. It's that something that never gets tired of you and never leaves is a genuinely appealing idea, just dressed up as a threat. The horror was never really the monster. The horror was that the monster's whole complaint was relatable. Anyway, the finale, Something Won't Let You Leave, is already out. That one's getting its own video, and it's next. I'll only say this much. Watching these first 2 episodes, I never believed this story would end with Verity just getting shut off clean. And after seeing the ending, it doesn't.